Today, I want to do a piece on a guy that I met in federal prison. He actually works in the prison, and his name is Chaplain Richardson. I think he in the Navy or the Marines. He's been in the military pretty much back and forth in a chaplain's department and in the ministry for the last few years, 20-something years, Father God. I just want to talk about this guy. I think he's the chaplain from God, Father God, and I know that I met him on the circumstances where he was working in. He was a chaplain in the chapel. He came from Victorville 2, and while he came from Victorville 2, I was doing a Bible study in the Victorville chapel. And one day he came and told me that it was too many Christian services and that I would have to give up my room. And I was kind of angry at first, and I really didn't like what he said about there's too many rooms that the Christians occupy, but I always thought that maybe the more rooms we have, the better for the body. But he told me that I couldn't use the room no more, and they was gonna be doing something similar to what I was doing in the bigger rooms. So I just had to take a back seat for a while. I stopped coming to church. I started just going down there when visitors come, and I really became good friends with this guy because when I went to the hole, I was on my way to TI. I had 10 points, and I got into a fight with a guy, and they put me in the hole. And I was kind of embarrassed because I had just had the life sentence taken off of me, and I was on my way to TI, Terminal Island, to finish my sentence out. And when I went to the hole, I was kind of embarrassed because of the body. Everybody knew me in the body, and everybody kind of looked up to me. And we announced to the church that I had got the life off. But Chaplain Richardson, me and him became friends with another chaplain. His name was Machete, which was for the Catholic Church. And me and Chaplain Richardson became friends. And one day, a guy asked me to do a testimony because he wasn't going to be there that night. His name was Nico Brown, Brother Brown. Now, when Brother Brown asked me to do a testimony, he sent a message to the unit with a guy. I thought the guy was playing because the guy was atheist. And the atheist guy told me that Brother Brown would like me to do a testimony in the church. So I was like, man, you serious, man? And he was like, yeah, brother, yeah, Fish, man, Brother Brown sent word over here for you to do the testimony tonight in his place. So when I did the testimony that night, Chaplain Richardson was there. The whole body was there. I hadn't did anything for maybe a few months or maybe a year because I was kind of upset with the body. Jason was there, Bunchery, a lot of my Christian brothers, Polo, a lot of brothers that came from USP, they was there. And I ended up giving my testimony, and I finished my testimony, and a lot of guys were saying it was cool. And so when I went back to the unit, the next day, Brother Brown asked me what did I do, and I told him I did a testimony. Now, he said, well, what did you do a testimony on? Well, I just did a testimony on my life and about the blind man that went to the Pool of Siloam that was translated sent, and I did that testimony. And when I went to the hole, I was in the hole and I was embarrassed, and I didn't want Chaplain Richardson to know I was see me in the hole. So I'm in the hole, and one Sunday I hear Chaplain Richardson coming through, talking about chaplain on a tier. I really was trying to hide my face, but at the same time, I didn't have an opportunity to hide my face. So what I did was I went to the door and ended up seeing Chaplain Nelson at the door. And while I was at the door, we was talking. I was telling him what happened. And then we end up going. Then I end up talking to him every Sunday until I left. I ended up going to Victorville too. And while I was just got there, I was in a cell in a quarantine, and here come Chaplain Richardson again. I couldn't get away from this guy, and I always knew that this guy was special, and I also knew that this guy was sent from God, because a lot of times when he preached and he do his sermons, they're on prison reform, they're on the injustice, and I never really seen a chaplain that works for the BOP that was real concerned about people's lives. I know they got a thing called a hireling, which is a person that works for the chaplain or work for the BOP, but when the deuces go off, he's a cop, and he's not a chaplain, he's just a regular CO. But this guy was a little special. A lot of people say stuff, and a lot of people would say he was a good chaplain. I always knew he was a good chaplain. So when I got to the 2, he started letting us do a little different things in the ministry, singing and choir and everything. So he used to always call me up. And when I got over to the 2, he ended up getting a job in the 2. And that's how come I knew that this guy was special, and I always liked him, and we always became friends. He always talking about his son. He always talk about his father. He always get guests to come in. He always having plays. He always trying to promote the body. He have a good rapport with the warden. He have a good rapport with the assistant warden. He have a good rapport with the rec, the officers in the unit, and he would always be able to work his way through to talk to the people he needed to talk to. But while in the 2, we became good friends, and maybe one day we'd be able to do some things on the street together, into maybe a podcast. But I knew this guy was real special, and I knew that he was a chaplain from God, Chaplain Richardson. I hope you get blessed. I hope you'll be able to retire one day in good health. But to just talk about this guy, man, he was a special chaplain, because when I got the life off, he let people know that I got the life off, and he let everybody know that it was of God, and it had to be of God, because he's seen a lot of guys get their sentences overturned. He's seen a lot of guys that he actually prayed for and got the sentence off. And when I was in the 2, he actually helped me work to go home, and he made sure that I was in good health and being able to give my testimony so other brothers can see that I was not playing with the Lord, and that I was real deal with the Lord. And every Sunday, he would always talk about going home, and he always talk about the other brothers in the ministry and other brothers in the church. And I just wanted to do a piece on this guy, because I know he have a bright future. I know he have a beautiful family, and I know that he's going to go far in the ministry, and maybe one day we'll be able to go do a tour through the military and talk about prisoners and talk about guys that worked in the prison. And I just wanted to make sure that this guy get his just due, because I know he's a chaplain from God. I done met a lot of chaplains. I knew Kirkness. I knew a lot of the chaplains, Nelson. I know a lot of the chaplains. I know a lot of Muslim chaplains, Jamal and all those guys. But I know this guy was special, because the way he did service, and the way he always mingled with the brethren, and he always wanted the best thing for the brethren, and he always wanted to be able to help brothers in the church and to the prison ministry. And he always talked about prison reform. He always talking about prisons. He always talking about how to get people out and what he can do, write a letter, or what he can do, phone call, whatever he can do when people's mothers die. He always made sure that everything was good, and that we be able to live in the prison without having fear. And when somebody's mother died, father died, he would always come and talk to them, let them use the phone, and let them be able to talk to their parents or to their family with the phone and everything. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm doing this piece on the chaplain Lompoc that became the Lompoc. He was a chaplain in 1, he was chaplain in 2. I couldn't get rid of this guy. This guy is like, you never know when you're entertaining an angel, and this guy's an angel to me, and he was an angel to a lot of brothers in the body. Now I'm on the streets, and I wanted to do a piece on this guy, because I know that this guy is from God, and I know he's going to go a long way, and his family is blessed to have him, and I'm blessed to have him in my life, and I'm just blessed to be able to talk about this guy, because I know he's the real deal, and I know that his family is real proud of him, and I know the BOP is proud of him, and the military is real proud of him.